Jefferson Robbins with NCW Life. Sean Lewis was recently appointed back in July to become Douglas County's chief prosecutor. He replaces Gordon Edgar, who served in that office for many years before becoming prosecutor full-time in 2018. He joins me now. I appreciate you being here, Sean.
Thanks for asking me.
I'm glad to speak with you. I wanted to talk with you a bit about this because you were appointed by the Douglas County Commissioners.
That's correct.
There was not an election process. You are an appointee, as you were mentioning to me before we got started. So maybe introduce yourself to the folks watching who might, maybe come before you in court one of these days in Douglas County up in Waterville.
Well, sure. Thank you. As you said, I was appointed by the Board of County Commissioners in July to assume the office. I assumed it on July 14th. Prior to that, I had been with Chelan County for a year under Mr. Robert Sealby, who's the prosecuting attorney for Chelan County, and then prior to that I was with East Wenatchee for 5 years doing prosecution and other activities over there. I've been an attorney for more than 20 years in different forms of law, but mostly civil law in the patent side. So I did everything mostly on the federal level, and that involved everything from litigation activities to preparing, processing patent applications and such.
And so up until about 6 years ago, you were mostly doing that legal work from California.
California, and I actually did some from Idaho as well. Prior to coming here, I was in Idaho.
And what brought you to the Wenatchee Valley?
We have family all over the state, and so Wenatchee's right in the middle, so it makes it easier to get around. We also have a very high affinity towards travel and things like that, and so we're close to Idaho. Idaho is a very wonderful place, as are other places in Washington, and so it just seemed centrally located was the right thing to do.
What led you to seek out, because it was an application process, you sought out the office of Douglas County Prosecutor, you asked the commissioners for the appointment. What led you to make that career decision?
Well, I had been interfacing with the Douglas County Prosecuting Attorney's Office for quite some time because I know many people in the legal community around this area. And of course I knew Mr. Sealby, I knew Mr. Edgar, and many of their various staffs. And I'm very much interested in the subject matter. I got involved with a little bit of knowing about what the offices do, and I felt that I had something to contribute. And a lot of the things I bring to the table, I have a fresh perspective on, so I'm the outsider that's coming in, and so I have a fresh perspective that perhaps I can add different viewpoints to the conversation and perhaps enhance things a little bit that way. I also have a very analytical perspective, and so I kind of felt that that would benefit the office a little bit. Not that there wasn't analytical perspective in the past, I just bring a different approach.
Tell us about the prosecutor's office. I mean, from my perspective in the media, oftentimes we show up in court when there's a big criminal case.
Sure.
And there's a prosecutor or deputy prosecutor there leading that case on behalf of the state. But that's not all that the prosecutor's office does at the county level.
That's correct. At the county level, the prosecuting attorney's office is essentially the county attorney. So they do everything. They provide legal advice to all department heads, the auditor, the assessor, et cetera, the treasurer, everybody within the county. We also provide legal advice to the Board of County Commissioners, Human Resources, all that stuff. And so, of course, I'm essentially pointing out the things that people don't generally know about the office. We obviously have a big presence in the courts, as you had said. And so we have teams in various areas. We have prosecutors, we have victim witness people that help ensure that victims are heard and managed through the process carefully and comfortably. We have, of course, paralegals and administrators who help us prepare documents and file folders and things like that, and help us in many different ways.
And you will have deputy prosecutors not just at the Superior Court level where things like felony cases or major civil cases are heard. You're also working in district court.
Sure. District court as well as the juvenile courts that people don't generally know much about. The juvenile courts actually operate under the Superior Court, but that's typically, so there's adult felony and then there's juvenile court, which could become kind of a hybrid between district court and, I mean, it's operated under the Superior Court, but they might commit misdemeanors as well. And so those are adjudicated there as well. And district court, as you can tell, is DUIs, assaults, things like that, the lower level crimes, if you will.
So you've been on the job since the middle of July. That's about 2 months in as we record this. Have you been able to assess the office enough to assess priorities for it, things that you'd like to see that office achieve within the next little bit over a year?
That's a difficult question, actually. This early on, I go into a situation generally thinking I should know a lot about it before I make any changes. For example, I do think we have a very experienced team. We have a lot of history from the various prosecutors and their experiences and that sort of thing. We have moved a person from the district court staff to the felony staff. We did notice that the felony prosecutor was a bit overloaded, and so the prior felony prosecutor had departed, but we have a different felony prosecutor over there that was a bit overloaded, and so we moved some help from the district court side to the felony side for that. As for particular goals, I think what we want to do is just the normal thing for me would be to ensure that the community is supported, the victims are all supported. I just want to make sure that that's kind of a, fully arms around them kind of support. And that's not to say it didn't happen in the past. Those are just some of my particular focuses. We do have a backlog of cases in the office that haven't yet been filed, and we're working through those fairly rapidly, actually. And so one of my goals is to clear that backlog completely.
You said you wanted more felony support or support for your felony prosecution. Does Douglas County need that because you are seeing any kind of increase in terms of felony crime or prosecutions?
No, definitely not. In fact, what I've noticed, excuse me, is that the crime has actually leveled off a little bit in my view. Over the last several years, the numbers of felonies presented to the prosecutor's office by the police and others has actually been relatively stable. I don't see an upward trend at all. What we're mainly trying to do is ensure that we don't have older crimes that haven't been prosecuted. My goal is to stay up on top of that whole, commission processing, and then end game, whatever the end game ends up being for a particular crime. We want to make that be kind of more current as opposed to delayed. I do believe we owe it to the people who are harmed by various crimes and things like that to ensure that we do it promptly.
And for the record, from state records of court filings, it looks like Douglas County has about a third of the felony cases filed compared to Chelan County.
Sure. Yeah.
There's a lot more of that happening in the Wenatchee, Chelan County area than in East Wenatchee, Douglas County.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it was? You had an interview process, an application process with the county commissioners. What do you think it was that led them to give you the nod for this position?
I really don't know. The interviews were not in the open air, and so I don't know what the other interview was like. I can tell you that the conversation, it could be anything, right? It could be conversational style. I actually went into it thinking that I might not be successful because the person there were only 2 applicants, and the other person who was applying in the same time period that I was, he was very experienced and well known in the office and throughout the county as well. And so I have no idea. I really don't.
And that was Ethan Morris, who was the deputy criminal prosecutor for Mr. Edgar for a while.
That's correct.
So when the commissioners selected you, they issued a press release. They wrote, "Mr. Lewis now has just over 15 months to demonstrate to the citizens of Douglas County and the Board of County Commissioners that he can effectively, efficiently, and successfully execute the duties. It goes on from there. It sort of sounds like they're teeing you up in case you wanted to run again, Sean.
Sure.
Yeah. So, do you have anticipations or ambitions for November 2026? Do you think you'd be on the ballot then?
I did promise the board that I was going to run, and I intend to.
Do you hope to have a career out of that as lengthy as what Gordon Edgar had, starting in '95 and finishing in 2025? That seems a kind of a big haul.
I don't know. You know, the way I see it is I have things that I want to accomplish on behalf of the community and the people at large, and that's who kind of gives us the charter to do what we do. And so long as the voters believe that I might be accomplishing those things that they would wish me to do, perhaps they'll allow me to continue on into the future. It's hard to say. So it's whether I have something to contribute and whether they believe what I have to contribute is what they want is what's really going to drive that.
So beyond being the chief prosecutor, you're not just leading cases, you're also leading an office of people. Do you feel like your staffing level is where you need it to be right now, or are you trying to expand?
Well, we're not trying to expand beyond the original proposal from, let's say, last year, for example. We do have an opening because Mr. Morris had departed, and so we do have an opening to fill. And so we are trying to fill that. Beyond that, I don't believe we need anybody at the moment.
Do you bring any kind of managerial philosophy with you? I mean, do you have an idea that guides you when you expect to make decisions on behalf of the office, on behalf of your people?
My main philosophy is more towards managing the people in a particular way, and that is that we hire bright people for a reason. We want them to use their brains. And so rather than being kind of a touchy-feely micromanager kind of person, I feel like the engine is already there. Those are the people, those are the part of the team, right, other than me. And I'm the guy with the oil trying to apply it to the motor in the right place to make it run more efficiently or smoothly, or to pull the small stuff off their plates so that they can do the big stuff, if you will.
It sounds like an engineer's answer.
Maybe.
It's part of your background.
That's right.
Are there other things we should know, Sean, about yourself or about the office, things I didn't ask about?
You know, I can't think of any at the moment. There are so many things that might be interesting, but that would be more of a casual conversation at a party, perhaps.
Well, good speaking with you, Sean Lewis, prosecuting attorney for Douglas County.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
You're watching the NCW Life channel.